Hello and welcome to this episode of Haphazard Podcast. I'm now concerned you can see my feet because that would be disgusting. Showing feet on an actual podcast. They're fine. I just don't think that's, you guys, you pay for that stuff. Hello everyone. It's hotter than hell. I don't know, by the time this comes out, maybe it won't be. Maybe we'll all be dead from the heat. I don't know. I know in Casa del Ginger, it's certainly sank. But in the middle of all this, speaking of gingers, I met another real top tier ginger the other day. So I went into Smith's Toys, and it's important I say that it was like a designated toy shop, with Pickles strapped to my front in her sling, on my front, very much baby present, front and center, if you will. And I was talking to one of the employees of said toy shop, again, with my baby strapped to my front, and it's her birthday coming up. And so I was in there looking for bath toys, and I went up to this guy, charming ginger employee, and I was like, hi, do you have any, do you sell bath toys here? And he went for the little one. And I cannot tell you how much that's made me giggle every single day since then. I was like, I looked at him, I was like, for the baby? No. Bath toys for the baby? No, my guy. You take me to the adult bath toy section. I wonder. Take me to the adult bath toy section of this store, of this toy store. Fuck yeah, guy. Fuck yeah. You, my friend, are living out here. I wonder whether there was nothing went across his face to suggest that he was like, sorry, that was a stupid question. Because it wasn't. It was a beautiful question. With a baby strapped to my front in a toy shop. Is it for kids? Maybe no one else finds it. It was the highlight of my week. I will say that. And it hasn't been a bad week. I've had a lovely week. Final stop on the tour with Thomas in Brighton, which was lovely, with a full mentally challenged heckler. But we love them. Girl loves a bear pit, and we had a lovely time in the end. I do love touring for that boy. We had a really fun day. And again, just the messages I'm getting for you guys are amazing. They're so beautiful. They're like, and this is not just to stroke my own back. This is very much testament to you guys listening. What just a complete platoon of delightful people. And you know what my best bit has been? Not to rank everything, because every comment has worth and is beautiful. I had two women get in touch with me. One who is considering doing what I've done, which is trying for a baby by herself. And I've checked. She doesn't mind me speaking about her. I'm not going to say her name or anything, but I have checked. And one is a mate, someone who my mate is a mutual friend, and she's 28 weeks pregnant and with this baby that she's having by herself with a donor. And she was obviously coming at it more from the point of, like, have you got any advice, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, right, at the beginning, you just need someone to cook for you. Like, it's simple as that. I think that's for every woman. I don't think it matters if you have a partner or not. Like, I still can't believe how incapacitated I was in the cooking for myself or the feeding myself department. I've referenced on this before that I had a nervous breakdown about coffee, but that's a whole other. If I hadn't had people coming around to my flat and literally putting food in front of me and in my mouth, there's not a version of the world. I don't wonder what that is. I wonder what that is, because from an evolution standpoint, especially if you're breastfeeding, you obviously have to have more calories than ever. And I just couldn't, it just didn't factor into my wherewithal of any given day. So that's what I said to her. I was like, have someone who is feeding you for that first few weeks. You need that. And even that stuff, like, even I, in my ignorance, thought, I was like, I'll stash the fridge of freezer food. Fucking see ya. I wouldn't have eaten. Like, all I would have had to done was take it out of the freezer and put it in the oven. Not a fucking shot. Not one bit. Nope. I lived on M&S gazpacho. And is that the most middle-class thing I'm going to say on this podcast? Probably not, but it's up there. I lived on M&S gazpacho because it was just vitamins, and I could literally pour it into a bowl and slurp it. It was the only version of the world that meant I ate. But yeah, do that. The woman who got in touch with me about doing this by herself was just the most beautiful message, and really zeroed in on what a lot of people have in this journey, which is the donor. Now, full disclosure, I'm not going into my donor. I said that before on pods and on stage. I'm not going into it mainly because I feel very strongly that the first person who should know anything about the donor is Pickles. So until she is old enough and decides she would like to have that conversation with me, I don't talk about it. She should be the person who has the first information, the first chat about who he is, and why I chose him. But the lady who messaged me was asking, she was the difference between a known donor and an unknown donor. So mine is unknown. I don't know him from a catalogue. Not like an Argos catalogue. When I say that, I'm not like sitting down with an Argos, like ringing people. But I will, Kate, I actually have said this in a pod, and I've said this to my friends as well, so that's fine. He was from an American clinic. He was an American donor. There's loads more choice. But it was a really funny decision-making process because all of them out there do it really differently. There's one catalogue out in America, and I'm using the word catalogue for lack of, that's just what I'm going to call it, not because I am there being like thumbing like I did when I wanted a Mr. Frosty. The California ones threw me because you could see a picture of the fella who was the donor, and you start treating it like Tinder, and then you're like, well, I don't need to be sexually attracted to my baby, actually. So this seems bum steer. There was another one where they showed you the baby photos of the donor, and that threw me a bit as well because you start going, oh, could that be my baby? Could that be my baby? Could that? And then you're like, it obviously wouldn't be your baby. It's 50% you. So it wouldn't even be your baby. And I will say this, and I did say this on the message also, as someone who I'm pretty sure my donor donated water, because that child is 100% pure Preston. The baby photos are probably even more of a bum steer than even I realised. And so I just eventually settled on what are the actual criteria that I've decided are the most important for me. Everyone will have their different set of whys and wherefores. What are the things that are important to me? I feel like I should be picking for whatever reason, and that's what I did. And this one didn't have a photo, didn't have anything. But I think I have said this on They Have a Word podcast, so excuse me if I'm repeating myself. The one thing I did zero in on as someone who was doing, because this is the other thing about the UK stuff, even though they're American donors, because they are donating to the UK, they have to be contactable. So, and I could be wrong about it, let me get this right. When the child is 16, they are allowed to apply to the clinic for all the information on the donor. Now, as it happens, I've printed everything out and kept it in a secret place, so I have it all and will sit down with her. And when they are 18, they're allowed to apply for the last known contact details. So they have to be, when these donors donate to any woman in the UK, it has to be an open donation. Open, so it means they are contactable in the future. And I think what I realised, knowing quite quickly that I didn't want a known donor, was I needed to bear in mind that one day, feasibly, my child could track him down and talk to him. And at the back of his application, everyone I think who goes through the London Sperm Bank, I think I'm right in saying this, has to do a handwritten letter to accompany their paperwork. And he was just, I told Adam Rowe this, and he burst into tears of laughter. He's like, that's ridiculous. Basically, he sounded kind. He sounded really kind. His letter was a really kind letter. And I just thought that is a pretty big aspect of this, is the idea that in 18 years' time, whatever, there's a kind person who opens the door to her. That was a big one for me. Again, everyone's going to be so different on this. The known donor's wild. I have some of the most attractive men in the world who are mates of mine, various different sexualities. And my mum kept being like, what about so-and-so? What about so-and-so? What about so-and-so? And I was like, I don't think... Listen, I'm fully aware that I probably am slightly on the side of a control freak. And what if the shoe's on the other foot? I'd find it quite hard not to wade in. At the end of the day, especially a couple of my best mates, if I dressed her in the wrong outfit, my fuck, would I hear about it? And they thought that was half their gene pool. My God, would I hear about it? I think the grandparents is the thing. That's what I think. I think whether or not that person would have been cool as hell at donating sperm and then letting me get on with it, that's a tough sell to a grandparent, I think. At least I don't know that. I think maybe I'm projecting because I know how that would go down in the Preston household. But I wondered whether that's a bit of a tough sell to the donor parents. That's what I thought. But what was so lovely about this woman who messaged me, and I loved it very much, was she was really unsure and really like, I'm not sure about this. I'm scared about this, and what if this happens, and I don't know about this. And I think the one myth I really want to dispel is this fearless thing. And I'm going to go on to why, because I had such a week of it. It was so weird how these things happen. You know, where you sort of, it's like, I think Brene Brown, you know, our white woman, Lord and Saviour, would call this a real learning moment. This fearless thing, when I think I said this last week, God, I'm losing my whole mind. It's the heat, about how when I had my first counselling session for a single mother by choice, I was like, I'm really scared. Like, I'm quite scared. Is that normal? Should I not? I should not be. I should just be 100% excited. And she was like, no, if you weren't scared at all, I think there's something wrong with you. And that's the point. I think women who are trying to get pregnant naturally, like with a partner, with someone they've been with for years and years and years, whatever, like, would be fucking mental not to be scared. And I then, in the middle of all of this and these lovely chats and these messages, I got a message from my old secondary school, my alma mater, and I'm not going to say its name because I'm really concerned that there'll be a podcast where I like slag it off down the line. I went to an all-girls school just outside London, and they got in touch and asked me to do this short video about being fearless, about that, like, you know, time in your life when you've been fearless, talk to the girls about it, or go out there, prize giving. We think it'd be really inspirational. I was like, okay, I think you have got the wrong end of the stick of how well my career is going. But I was like, yeah, sure. But I realised, I said in the video, actually, I was like, you've asked me to do this video on fearlessness because of what I do for a living, haven't you? And I'm aware that people see stand-up as terrifying because they tell us all the time. We always get told, I could never, this is so scary. And the fact of it is, it never felt scary to me, not ever, not from the beginning. Obviously, there are times when I'm like scared of it, but it's not scared, it's like roller coaster scared. You know, when it's like adrenaline and you're pumping and it's exhilarating. It's not, you know, the good fear and the bad fear. It's like a good fear where you're exhilarated by its presence. So I'm not saying that it's obviously not without its scary moments, but I've never been scared of stand-up. I've never felt fear around stand-up. And I said in the video, I was like, so I suppose by definition, me doing my career is fearless because I've never felt it. But if you're asking me about brave, that's a way more interesting question, and it's not the same as fearless. Brave is feeling fear and doing it anyway. And that's why brave is so much more interesting and so much more impressive. I think fearless is stupid a lot of the time. And actually, when I asked my dad about this, he said the same. He's like, fearless is just stupid and you're reckless. I was like, yeah, I think that. Brave is different. And I said on this video, I was like, if you're asking me the bravest thing I've ever done, it's having a child by myself and holding out to fall madly in love with the right person instead of settling for the wrong person because I want to become a mother. And she's the thing I'm proudest of. Our little family is the thing I'm most proud of. And not because it was fearless, but because it was brave. Quite the opposite. It's very fearful a lot of the time. And I really do think, I know, so it's weird thinking that it's going to go out to all these teenage girls who, listen, we weren't the sturdiest bunch. We're ruthless, I will say that. The girls at my school, our reputation was being ruthless. But I think fearless is a really not the right word to be plugging at a school, because fearless is fucking... Also, like, okay, can we just also have a minute about the fucking... I don't know if everyone else gets this, the old school newsletter. Me and my mates have been bitching about this recently. Does everyone else get their alumni, like, old school newsletter? When you get it in your inbox, it's like news from you know, something high. And it is, okay, always, at least it is from us, like the mostest achievements. She's done this, she's done that, she's incredible. Can we normalize like a lol section? Can we just have like a back page? I'm going to use an example. Look, Ling Mei in our year, and I'm really sorry if Ling Mei is a name with baggage, but I'm not sorry because that's exactly the name I mean. Everyone had a Ling Mei in their school. Everyone did. You know why? Because Asian parents aren't fucking around. Those children come out the most talented, the most competent, the most exceptional students. Everyone had a Ling Mei, I think. Ling Mei in our school was unbelievable. Ling Mei was in the last newsletter and it was like, yeah, Ling Mei this week cured a strand of cancer and just while she was taking a break from the National Symphony Orchestra playing first cello. And you're like, yeah, no shit, I could have told you Ling Mei was going to do that at the end of year 11. That's not interesting. That's also not brave. Brave looks different on everyone. That's very cool for Ling Mei. Ling Mei, let's be honest, could do that in her sleep. Laura and I were talking about this one time. This is my mate Laura from school, who also lives up here now in the Northwest, and we had our kids like a week apart, which is chaos because all we've done is just restarted us a generation below with these two girls. But we were saying, we lived in Chicago together, and we were saying one time, like, we went out, Laura got physically, literally thrown out of a country and western bar because she decided to try and lead everyone in a YMCA during a slow bit, and she jumped on stage. I nearly got smacked in the face by a Texan because I called his wife the C word. The next morning, Laura woke up with a kayaking oar in her room, and I, on the way home, had lost my house keys and one shoe in a fountain, and we both turned up for work on Monday. That's inspirational. That's inspiring. Ling Mei doing that, it's very good. But I don't think it's inspiring. I think it's very easy for Ling Mei. Again, brave and achievements look different on everyone. And I think maybe these newsletters would be a lot more well received if some people, if I read something, like, what if Ling Mei, the next one, it was Ling Mei again. It was like Ling Mei snapped and she battered a woman to death with her cello. She then fled on an airline to Peru where she found ayahuasca from a guy who told her she was Leonard Cohen. And then she had a gangbang with 3 Australian guys. And now she goes by the name of Moon Butter. I'd be like, fuck yeah, Ling Mei. Fuck yeah. That's women can do anything. That will make me think, wow, there's nothing women can't do. If Ling Mei could do a 180, fucking like, at a bitch. That would be, I would tell to my daughter, I was like, you can do whatever. Look at Ling Mei. You can change, you can thrive, you can be whatever you want to be, girl. One of my friends got pregnant up the Shard. Not a euphemism. She got pregnant up the Shard in London. She was fucking her boss. And she'd forgotten to take the pill, so took 8 pills in one day. Oh, absolutely 100% got pregnant. Again, that would have been excellent in the newsletter. That would have been a great addition amidst the whole, like, so-and-so's rowing for England, so-and-so's rowing for England, this girl's rowing for England. Everyone at my school rows for England. I don't know what happened, but like they all go and row for Team GB. In the middle of all that, they'd been like, and Caroline absolutely excelled herself. And now she's having a baby. Lol. That's all about diversity. It's about showing women in every field, in every line of activity and job. I think, great. She's really happy now. It ended well. She got really happy. Let's stop deciding what achievement looks like. Let's stop deciding what brave and inspirational looks like. There are times in my life where I'd have been way more inspired by me and Laura in Chicago. I appreciate not everyone, maybe. But this is what I mean about brave. Me doing this thing by myself with the baby, I've had lots of people, and this is not to be like, everyone says I'm brave. That is a word that people have been like, gosh, you're so brave. You go, I have spent an evening with your husband, not like in a sexual sense, but I spent an evening at a dinner party with your husband. That's fucking brave, what you're doing. Shackling yourself to that man who just did a hot 20 on the different dining options at Glen Eagles. That's fucking brave. I sat there in a cold sweat, being like, oh my God, forever? You're gonna be with that man at a dinner table forever? All the time? At one point, it was so boring. I mean, he'd held court for such a long time. So I tried to change the subject, and I was like, oh, it was a lovely barbecue. Thank you. That's such a cool barbecue. He then listed off all the different brands of barbecues that he'd done research on and why he'd picked this one. I was like, I'm going to throw myself onto your barbecue. I'm going to grill myself on your barbecue. And I'm like, right, as awful as this is for me, because I'm obviously sat here having to listen to it, I get to leave and go home. That poor bitch in the kitchen is presumably listening to this being like, oh my God, I took his name, I took his last name, barbecue guy. the barbecue TED Talk man. I'm going to be with him forever. I've had his kids, so I'm literally going to have to see him. Even if I will have to see him all the time forever. That's terrifying to me. In-laws. There's another one. I don't know how any of you are doing in-laws. That looks terrifying. Now, admittedly, I am projecting because when I think of in-laws, I think of my ex's mum. I am aware, and I'm aware of this from my mum group. They all seem to really like their in-laws, and I don't think they're bullshitting me. They all seem to just like their in-laws, and I obviously have a couple of friends who do not. The idea that some woman walks into my house where my baby is, picks up my child and is like, oh, my little girl, my little pickles, my little girl. Or like dresses her in something that I can't. What if she's one of those in-laws who like lets her watch Blippi? I'm sorry. And I said at the beginning of this whole podcast that I was working on my being judgmental. There are a couple of things. And Blippi, absolutely. If anyone listening knows us and you take pickles for an afternoon ever and you put on Blippi, I would rather she watched an ISIS beheading video. I would rather that than Blippi. That absolute like cunting toe rag Blippi. When I was nannying, Blippi came into my life, and he's like a nightmare. He's like a fever dream. It's the creepiest. Yeah, I'd take a hot little beheading over that man. Anyway, what's Blippi? Or, sorry, another one I'm going to piss everyone off in Liverpool. The fucking little girl high heels. If she was one of those mother-in-laws who I came back and my child was in those like little girl high heels. I don't mean the like hilarious clumpy ones that come with your Disney princess dress. You know, the like pure plastic one that are the most flammable things alive. And they just like clomp, clomp, clomp when they're being Jasmine. I mean the actual from a shoe shop little girl high heels where they're like sandals with a clumpy heel. Can't bear it. Can't bear it. If I came home and Debbie had her in one of those, I'd be like, oh, do you know what, Debbie? If I wanted my daughter to be a whore, I stayed in London and sent her to my secondary school. What? So I just don't know how any of you, and I know what a role in-laws have in their life. I look at my parents and what a role they have in her life. It like checks out that absolutely the fella's parents should have as equal a role in their life as oh my God. When I leave pickles with my parents, I know what the gig is. I know what's happening. I had that upbringing, like Popper's trying desperately to like teach her how to play sport whilst, quote, keeping it fun and chill and not pressured and failing, may I add. But he's trying. They play football nonstop and he's trying to not be competitive and make it serious, and that's fine. And I know that, you know, little Bridge has just stood there screaming at someone about the recycling going in the wrong bin. That's why I know that was what's happening. Is anyone else's mum, late stage in life, psychotic about recycling? I don't remember. This was like, maybe she was a bit like this when I was younger. I believe she loves all three of her children and now her grandchild. I believe that. I don't think she loves any of us half as much as she loves a good recycle, though. Oh, getting the rules right in the recycling bin. God, she loves nothing more, that woman. The other day I came in and she was stood there with this like plastic punnet in her hand being like, did you mean to put that in this bin? I was like, yes. She was like, the film goes off it. This goes in the recycle. I was like, how long have you been stood there? How long have you been stood there holding the plastic punnet, waiting for me to come home to accost me on the recycling rules of Merseyside? It was unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. But God bless them. Yeah, I don't know how any of you are doing in-laws. That makes me sound like a control freak. I do have a mate who has an absolute like a nightmare in-law. I've realised that. I think I do think I'm like, obviously my list of what my perfect man looks like is changing, especially since I have a little girl. I think one might include an orphan. I think maybe I just need him to be an orphan. Is that unreasonable? To be honest, the older I get, the more likely it is, though, isn't it? Really, just hold out, Hat. Hold out. Get married when you're 60. You don't have to deal with in-laws. Perfect. Perfect plan. What a lovely start to this pod. God bless all of you dealing with in-laws. And to those of you wondering whether you should do single mumming alone, absolutely. Never miss a Christmas. This gal, never going to miss a Christmas. That is why. Hi, sorry, I realised from the previous section, my mam solo section, I missed out. I said I was going to tell the story, so I will tell it quickly. I was asking my dad about this video I had to do for my old school, and I said what I'd said to you guys, which is I was like, I don't think fearless is the right word, and he totally agreed with me. And then he told this story, and I just want to tell this because it just shatters me. So he told this story about, so my dad was a rugby player at the highest level, and his rule with our family was, with all us kids, was he would come and watch us play any sport on any day, any place, as long as we're giving 100%. That was his rule. We didn't have to win. We didn't even have to play well, but we had to be giving it 100%. That was his rule. And it was enforced, for sure. We heard about it when we didn't. But one day, so my brother was playing rugby, school rugby, and he was a little guy. He's not now. He just was a late grower, as the boys are wont to do. You know, there's ones where like there's that moment in time where you go and watch your brother play sport, and like half the people on the pitch are like men. They're like men who are like hello, and then the rest of them are the tiniest little pee-wee Herman, like hello, my name's Jeremiah, and I'm like, that's such a funny moment. And I think it was that moment where the boys were like sprouting and becoming ball dropped men, and my little itsy bitsy bro ran out onto the pitch. And Dad said he just didn't turn up. Like, he just didn't turn up. He just was barely there. Didn't get his hands dirty. Wasn't getting stuck in. And found out about it on the way home. So they were in the car, and Dad gave him a bit of a talk. And my brother just apparently burst into tears and went, Dad, I was frightened. Which kills me. And if any of you know my brother, he was just the most like rational, unemotional, like funny little, but so burst into tears and said he was frightened. And Dad said he just crumbled and was like, oh, darling, that's a very different conversation. And he said to him, he's like, I was never not frightened. Like I ran out for England terrified. Of course I was terrified. It's just what you do with it. It's what you do with that, the fear. And that is, again, I guess it goes back to I think I said it in an earlier one, like good fear and bad fear. And that distinguish between, there's a bad fear when you're like, something's wrong. A bit like anger. I think I used it in the context of anger, but there's a bad fear, like something's wrong. And it's just in you and everything is going to get out. And then there's the good fear where you go, this is going to ask something of me. This is going to ask me to leave my comfort zone, or ask something of me to be bigger and stronger and less inhibited. And that's a good one. But God, it's hard, isn't it? It's really hard. I feel like I had it a bit with this pod, honestly. Like, I had, like, before, I think every now and again you just go, maybe I just want to like stay under the duvet and have no one see anything. And this is such a narcissistic venture anyway. I mean, all podcasting really is, I suppose, isn't it? But then on the other side of that, I get messages like that lovely girl, or my friend in New York. When you go, oh, actually, I imagine if I was back in that position, I would really have liked to have someone talking about it. I don't know. I'm trying not to self-aggrandize, make myself sound way more important than I am. I'm not. But I guess on the other side of fear is always something good, isn't it? Because you've learned something. Unless it's like a bungee jump with no string. Did you read that article in the paper the other day about that girl who just got like wanged off a bridge? And they're like, yeah, well, this is a different kind of sport. It's not actually bungee jumping. You get wanged off a bridge and the string doesn't bounce. You're like, what the fuck are we doing now? Do you ever read something and you go, well, yeah, no, obviously she's dead. I mean, R.I.P. in that. But yeah, no, maybe there are some things that you should be feared of because that's correct. But I think largely we usually learn something. And if we don't learn something, it's because we died because we bungee jumped without a string. So there's that. My Dean McCarthy from Widnes arch nemesis of the week is Nicole Scherzinger, which I totally appreciate. It might sound like a real left-hand turn, considering this is largely, as my thing was like, you know, aren't women great? And, you know, women, well, I mean, in my head, that's my aim. I don't think I do it very often. Right. Nicole Scherzinger, I guess they done, why did I have it on my Instagram? Have they done like a remounting of the Pussycat Dolls? Or were they're like, was it one of those, they were at the Mighty Hoopla or one of those like festivals where they got back together? I don't know. video around of Nicole Scherzinger and a few of the dolls, one or two of the pussies, giving it their beans to Don't Ya. Do you remember the song Don't Ya? I think it came out in like 2005. Am I right about that? Maybe 2003. Why did we ever why were we not furious about Don't Ya at the time? Have you listened to those lyrics? It's literally three of like the hottest girls you've ever seen in your fucking life, grinding, being like, don't you wish your girlfriend was as hot as me? You're like, what the fuck are you doing, sis? No, stop. That's so mean. Like, how are we, why were we not up in arms about that? She's still, I don't even know how old she is, but she's one of those people who's going to be 90 and a fucking banger. Like, she's unbelievable. And she was there in her, like, red pill BBC giving it the, like, don't you wish your girlfriend were... And you're like, yeah, he probably does, babe. He probably does. Could you wind your neck in for a minute? Because this is not helping anyone. And this is a special brand of woman who I do think should burn in hell. And will. I believe that to my core. You cannot stand there and give it the full, like, oh, yeah, women, we're the female band, this all-female empowerment, like, look what we've done, women can do it, and then be grinding up on a hypothetical woman's fella, being like, don't you wish you could stick it in me? That's not the same. And I will tell you why this triggered me so much in just a minute, but I was reading more about the Pussycat Dolls because I wanted to be informed about this. And apparently back in, like, early 2000s, one of the dolls, are we calling them dolls or are we calling them cats? Dolls. One of the dolls, I didn't know this, came out and said that they were a prostitution ring and they'd all been forced to sleep with whoever they were told. And obviously all the other dolls were like, no, we weren't. Google it. It's not funny. It's not funny if it had been a prostitution ring. That isn't funny. But it is funny that they had all these like banging hot girls had to come out and be like, oh, sorry, hi, we're not prostitutes. And this one girl's like, we are. No, we are prostitutes. It's like, oh, I think her name was Kaya, I'm going to say. And you know, you're like, babe, Kaya, were you prostituting yourself? Because none of the rest of us were. Kaya, you don't have to do that. Stop prossying. We're earning like absolutely fine. Don't chitting at innocent men. We are a prostitution ring. No, we're not. I'd really love to know which way around it is, whether Kaya just like thought they were, didn't get the memo, or they all just were. They were like, Kaya, shut the fuck up, Kaya. I hope they weren't prostitution rings, a ring of prostitutes. Fine if they were, you know, sex work and that. But one of the lyrics in Don't Ya is, don't you wish your girlfriend was raw like me? Raw? No, babe. No, that's disgusting. That's how people get diseases. Don't you wish your girlfriend was hot like me, raw like me, fun like me? And this is where I have an issue. I have a lot of wonderful men in my life, as I have started off this podcast saying. I think, again, if I said to some of my mates, are you going to bin off your missus for one of those? They'd be like, well, no, I really like that we play Scrabble on a Sunday. I'd be like, yes. Like I spent the weekend with my mates back down in London. And like, I don't think he would like a pussycat doll on a Sunday morning. He just wants my mate with the Sunday papers and their cat in the room in the morning and the like fancy cafetiere that they have. I love that. And the little funny tray. If I said, hey, bud, tell you what, just pop down the paper because Nicole Scherzinger's outside raw, grinding on your paving stone, being like, do you want, he'd be like, oh, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think everyone does, Nicole. It's really lovely that you look so great in a PVC onesie catsuit. But I actually know a lot of men who like really like a good trivia night. You know? They really like a nice stout and watching Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, which I love. You know? I think you've got it wrong. The reason it has triggered me so much, this whole, you know, females whilst being like honestly a sort of like wanton man-stealing slut is, and I will talk about this, and this is probably the bitchiest thing I've done, but fuck it. It's my pod. I was with a fella how long ago? 10 years ago. Good God, Hat. 10 years ago. And at the time he was in a TV show that I won't mention because it would be the most press it's ever had. He was in a TV show. He was filming it at the time. And there were 3 women in this show. They were leading up. It was this big push. It was like female-led drama, female-led. These 3 women, female-led. Let me tell you about these 3 females. These 3 females, at the start of series 1, 2 of them had turned up. I believe all 3. No, 2 of them had turned up single. By the end of that series, one of them was going out with my boyfriend, who I was no longer with, and one of them was going out with another fella who'd also turned up with a girlfriend at home. Successfully done, ladies. Two new boyfriends for you. By the end of the second series, the 3rd girl, who now was single, whipped one of the fellas from that other girl, and then she was going out with him. So between the 3 of them, probably couldn't have shown less mind or discernment on what to do with people who are already in relationships. That's absolutely fine, if that's your choice. The PR around this show, because it was obviously like 3 females, 3 leading women that was like how proud they were to do this thing, how proud they were to be the females, how important it was that female written dramas. I was like, I am sorry. Listen, it's whatever. I'm glad you took him. I'm very much in the Love Island perspective. Like, you didn't have my boyfriend, you took my problem. Good for you, he's yours now. But at the same time, even at the time, I was like, this is fucking galling. Is no one going to turn around and be like, sorry, just while we're on the subject of women respecting women and feminism, how many of you haven't fucked someone who had a girlfriend at the time? Like, how many of you see a fella with a boyfriend and are like, see a fella with a girlfriend and are like, oh, probs off limits for moi. Probs leave them alone to their trivia nights or what have you. No, sir. And can we please? I don't think I've ever slept with anyone with a girlfriend. I've been a dickhead in my time, but I really don't think I've ever slept with anyone with a girlfriend. I'm trying to go back and be like, are there anyone who I could have not known? But no, I don't think oh, she's doing the numbers now. Gosh, the longer I pause, the more incriminating this is. I really don't think, well, I know I've knowingly never have, but I don't think I've ever slept with someone with a girlfriend. And I like to think it would always have been something I wouldn't have done. And I listen, we've all done things and whatever, but I don't think I'd then go on a press tour espousing my feminist theory and I'm fucking someone else's boyfriend. So I guess maybe that is it. Nicole Scherzinger has taken the heat. For sure she's taken the heat this week because of this song being like, hey, come hither, little girlfriended man, which I think no. And I say this as someone who is fully aware I'm about to be like Mrs. Harper Valley PTA at the school gates. I'm so aware of that, being the single mum. Like, we were in the group, in the mum gang. There was this day where we were all meeting up and I was about to write on the group. I was about to say, like, hey lads, also, like, it's 2026. Like, if the boys want to come too, obviously all is welcome. And I was like, I actually don't think the single mother can be the person to write this on the group. Imagine me just sending out this invite being like, hey, we're all taking the kids out of the back. Do the boys want to come? I'm so aware of it. By the way, I don't think anyone would give a shit if I had. None of them. Their partners are all so brilliant and we're all such like pals now. It's not even but even at the time I was like, am I going to look like a slutty little... I have to tell you, actually no, I have to tell you something I did, which I'm so mortified by. And I had no idea. I was talking about when Lady Rain started working for us. I hate that, when she started hanging out with us. She said something to me on like the second or third time. And she was like, look, oh, so by the way, like, I know you wanted a bloke. I know you wanted a bloke as a babysitter. And I was like, what are you talking about? She goes, well, on the advert, on the I think it's like childcare.co.com or something. But on the childcare, on the listing, you said you wanted a male. I was like, what are you talking about? Turns out I ticked the box for male. And then obviously underneath written, I'm a single mom and a comedian, so I need someone who can do evenings and had ticked the box for male. I was like, Rain, I would have meant to tick both in that I don't really care. Like, I've known wonderful male nannies in my time. I don't have any problem with who does it gender-wise. Are you telling me on this listing was me asking for a male childcare provider and then in the first line being like, I'm a single mother who's out every night? Oh my God, fucking Mrs. Robinson. Unbelievable. So that was a good one. That was a good day for me, just working out. I'd basically like hoard myself on childcare.com. No wonder I got so many messages. Oop. Okay. My curiouser for the week is a football one, because I'm just so diverse in my interests, so unpredictable, such a cool pick-me, like cool girl. I've done one on the World Cup only because I found it really interesting. First of all, at the point of recording this podcast, is all the furore around the Belgian player going home and being there for the birth of his child, and to everyone who has criticised him, like truly from the depths of my soul, fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. It's his job. He's a football player. It's his job. Fuck you. There are so many shit dads. There are so many shit, subpar, underwhelming dads. How dare you turn around to a guy who's like, no, I'm going to leave for a minute, not for the whole thing, for a minute, this World Cup place, so I can be there for the birth of my child. Honestly, truly, fuck all of you. And to the women who are that French reporter, presenter giving him grief, like truly fuck you. I hope your entire clit falls out of your body and you never see a moment of pleasure again. That's how I feel about that. Right. Apart from that, the World Cup is underway. And obviously we all decided beforehand we were all going to boycott it because America were charging £1 million for a ticket, and we fucking hate America and everything's bad and it's a dictatorship and fascism. But we've binned off all our morals, and obviously we're all watching the World Cup, which I love about us as a people. There was just this one aspect that I was like, look at that. So it was Haiti. Haiti, who is, I think there was an article about in the paper about the fact that by virtue of how the country is and the history of it and the sort of social political unrest that there has been over the last however many years, so 10 of the 26 players in the squad were born in Haiti. I believe one of them, maybe two, one plays in the Haiti domestic league. Everyone else is away. Everyone else lives away. I mean, they all think they all live out of the country, and the rest of them were born out of the country, because Haiti is a country where the heritage is still so strong, regardless of which country they're actually in. All this just to say, because there was an article about the fact that it's just really interesting in the fact that they were bringing these players together who really are all over the world and playing all over the world and don't even most live in the country. But they had a kit, part of their kit, they were, FIFA turned around and banned it when they first showed their kit, because it had on it an image from the Haitian Revolution. So in 1804, when Haiti became an independent country, it was the first ever independent country to arise from an enslaved people's rebellion. So the people of Haiti, it's exactly what I said. So the enslaved people of Haiti, there was an uprising. They took over the government, that became an independent country, and they are now the country we recognise as Haiti. And there was an image from the Battle of Vertier, which was on their shirt. And FIFA turned around and said, because you can't have anything political, religious, or making any kind of political religious statement, it has to be taken off the shirt. And I Googled it. I was like, well, what was the image? Like, I don't think it was like the beheaded head of a white man, like brandished in the air. It wasn't. It was not. It was an image that they all recognised from the Battle of Vertier, which was one of the like really important battles in them gaining their independence, of someone raising the flag, and they took it off. And similarly, the Olympics had done the same thing with their Winter Olympic jersey. They'd made them take off a similar image from that battle. And the makers of this kit were like, it's not political, it's not religious, it's not aggressive or kind of incendiary in any way. It's a symbol of Haitian resilience. That's what we as the people all recognise it to be. It's what it symbolises to us. That's why it's on the shirt. And FIFA was still like, no, you've got to take it off. It's political, religious. Cut to America's kit. America, the away one, is black with all the faded stars. Can I just read out, quote, Now, when the American flag came to be, the one we recognise it to be, with the stars and the stripes, the first time that was created was June 14th, 1777, by good old Betsy Ross in Philadelphia. Not created, upholstered by, terribly sorry. Now, and then they still celebrate Flag Day on that day because that's the day that the flag came to be, with its 13 stars. Then, just this quote: the Continental Congress passed a flag resolution which stated, resolved, that the flag of the 13 United States be 13 stripes, alternate red and white, that the Union be 13 stars, white in a blue field, representing a new constellation. Representing a new constellation. So a direct comment on the fact that they had overthrown the English monarchy and the government over there. And these stars represented the newness of the nation that was America. And I was like, I have no problem with it, by the way. I'm not one of those people who's like, I wish we still had America. But like, it's interesting that the Americans and their stars, it was a direct comment on the aftermath of the overthrowing of a British monarchy. The Haitians, also an oppressed group of people from that country who overthrew the people in power at the time, have on their shirt an image of what means to them resilience and a new kind of world order, as it were. And they're like, no, sorry, it's really political and aggressive and religious. And something to think about. I'm more than happy for someone to slide into my messages and be like, Hattie, you've completely missed an absolute howler here and you've missed out one. But I was like, I don't know. Just something to think about, something to argue over in your tea break. Maybe. Okay, this is my letter for this week. I think it's quite self-explanatory. To the 3 boys and their trolley. Lads, I'm going to say something that I hope you take in the most sincerely uncreepy way possible. I watched you for a fair while this afternoon. I watched the 3 of you try to all climb into the abandoned shopping trolley by the playground, and I just want to tell you the awe with which I watched what you did. Full confession, I have never aspired to climb into a shopping trolley with 2 of my mates, but listen, that's on me and my small dreams. Suddenly, watching you, all of my male friends made sense, and I sort of loved them all the more. So the first 2 of you got in the abandoned shopping trolley for reasons that still remain unclear because you all had bikes. But then the 3rd of you, your little mate with the stumpy legs, began the campaign to join you. And this is where it got inspirational. Because just like Saving Private Ryan, you would not leave your man behind, even when your man quite clearly could not get one leg in while still on the ground with the other one. And as I watched the acrobatic logistics and aerospace engineering unfold, I realised something. I think me and my girlfriends in our teen years would have just given up. Mainly because even at that age, we had the hard wiring to know that putting all 3 of us in a shopping trolley just meant we were more easily abductable, but also because we would have been embarrassed about being seen to really try at anything. But not you. No, even when faced with the increasingly apparent actuality that little dump truck was never going to make it into the trolley without a catapult of some kind, still you tried. And eventually, in what can only be described as a very painful near garrotting with his tie and backpack, you did it. Little dump truck made it into the trolley, and then you all 3 just stood in it. And that was sort of it. And in that moment, I realised how much more joy you all have the potential for in a day. So often before I do anything, and I know my female friends are sadly burdened with this too, I go, why? Why should I do this now? I think the reason men's mental health is in the dire straits that it is maybe because us women, and indeed society, keep demanding you tell us why you're doing something. Isn't that most of your complaints about your wives? They keep nagging you about why you left the fridge door open and why you came home smashed and pissed in the bin and why did you think Just Whatsits was an acceptable dinner for a 4-year-old? We're so busy asking why that we don't acknowledge the daily gold medals you're probably winning in unexpected places. That's all. And actually, that's bullshit. It is. I imagine these lads, you had homework. I imagine quite a lot, actually, as I remember what it was like being a teenager. You probably had less time to do said homework that evening after the trolley pole vault session you've been embroiled in for God knows how long. And in the morning, your teacher will probably mark your barely complete homework quite harshly, like the buzzkill she is, claiming that it lacked effort. But she will have no idea of the effort you spent yesterday, proving the world wrong by fitting you and your 2 pals in that trolley. And no one will ever understand how much more important that was than Cosintan. Even if you try to explain why. Cosintan won't get you to be champions of the world. That's down to sheer chutzpah. And that, my boys, is what you were training last night. I've sort of always on some level known that this instinct exists in my male counterparts, but I suppose I really had to witness it today to fully comprehend its depth. When my male comedian best pal trudged up to me 10 minutes before a show start just the other day to say he had somehow lost a button from his snazzy new shirt in the 5 minutes since putting it on, I just stupidly Kirby gripped him up and sent him on his happy way. And I never asked him how he'd lost the button. I didn't even ask how he had come to break a shirt mere moments after proudly displaying it to us all like a child with a pasta necklace round the back of the stage. I robbed us all of the retelling of a brave and possibly dastardly caper, knowing this person, it was probably most likely even more, and I just told him to sit still and stop fiddling with it. Advice he has probably had numerous times before. Society has done this to you and us. We started telling you how to live in a way that makes life easier, but you never wanted easier. You wanted glory. And we stopped praising you and your daily adventures, and so now you're all on TikTok trying to be ripped, rich and racist in a bid for our attention. My dad's in his 70s now, and he still goes on lads' holidays with his old rugby teammates. And do we ask why? Sure. And he tells us every time for approximately the last decade, because it might be his last one. His last week of true glory. And we all eye roll and we wave them all off and we take bets on who isn't coming home. And now I know what's really happening. It's their desperate clinging on to the one and only space they have left to be brave, fearless warriors without their partners, nay society, telling them they have to take the bins out. It's their Lord of the Rings, without the pressure to save the world, just the bit where they can all dress the same and not groom. We're so used to that old adage, it's not the destination, it's the journey. So you know what, fellas? You start telling us more about that journey. Part of the reason you don't get the reaction you think you should get when you come home and say, I went to Tesco's today, is because us stupid bitches think that's easy. But that's just because it is for us. Because we are lame and simple and we just write a list, buy the things and pay. Adventure done. But I'm done with that. I want to hear about your day. I want to hear about your glories. I want to hear about the one may say, but not I, juvenile, maybe not time-efficient adventures you bravely leap into. May you all go forth towards the Tesco shop and conquer every shopping trolley that comes your way. Godspeed and God bless. Hatty.